I know it might sound too good to be true, because how can something as tough as discipline be easy? But, getting disciplined is the most misunderstood thing in the world. You, me, and the successful businessman on Wall Street, none of us are all that different. Deep down, we struggle with the same mindset challenges every day. Productivity, hard work, discipline. It doesn't matter who or where you are in life. You clicked on this video because you have been trying to make these things work, but it just doesn't happen. I've been there, frustrated, wondering why some people seem to have it all figured out. And if this is something you're going through right at this moment, I have some good news for you. The successful people you see, they aren't superhumans. You and I have the exact same potential to match and even outdo them. Listen, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to give it to you straight. So buckle up, because this is going to be one interesting ride. So let me tell you what discipline really means. For me, it's eating my broccoli or practicing those boring guitar scales, even though I'd much rather be jamming to Freebird by Leonard Skynyrd. Discipline is choosing to save my money and stay home, even though everybody else is going out and having drinks. Discipline is me choosing to go to the gym regularly and reading extra pages of whatever book I've picked. You see what I mean? Essentially, it's doing what I don't want to do because I know it's good for me in the long run. The problem is that we really hate doing things we don't like, but it's also what makes us so human. If I offered you a delicious snack in one hand or something bitter in the other, why on earth would you choose the bitter option? Even if I told you that the bitter snack has health benefits, I know you would most likely choose the sweet version of it. Let me tell you a little story. In the past of human beings, it was easier to find and pick berries and fruits rather than to learn the process of becoming a skilled hunter and chase your meals on long huntings. But as you can imagine, being a hunter meant getting more protein, which is essential for progress in living. This means you will get stronger and more resilient to daily challenges. But here we are in today's world, a world filled with cheap dopamine and access to cheap and fast food. I realize that I'm not a caveman anymore yet. I still have a similar choice to make in this modern world. This choice is between comfort and hard work. But here's the kicker. Choosing comfort doesn't have the same serious consequences anymore. You can choose to sit on your ass all day watching TikTok like most people, and you aren't going to die. Know what I mean? You no longer have that driving force that comes from a need to survive, which pushes you to work hard or be disciplined. Listen, brother, this is where the world is at right now. I see billions of people living easy lives, but feeling a decay in terms of purpose and true satisfaction. On the flip side, the modern equivalent of a hunter no longer comes with life-threatening risks. It's just a more inconvenient path. And the sad truth is that I see many of my friends avoiding this challenge and picking the convenient road. The first step to becoming disciplined is having a realization. The realization is that discipline is easy. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. I feel like it's far easier to be disciplined in the 21st century than it was before, when your life was literally on the line. But that's not the only thing I realized. My many failed attempts at trying to be disciplined taught me that I need to remember how I still have that potential hunter within me. That's why one of my all-time favorite quotes is from G. Michael Hopf. It goes like this: hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. I'm sure you too have seen how we are very much in the soft times and agree that it's time for us to become hard men. We are on a piece of rock flying through cold, empty space. We are the indomitable human race, and you want to tell me that you have trouble waking up 2 hours earlier than normal? My friend, you have the blood of conquerors in you. Men younger than you defeated empires and ruled kingdoms, and if you look closely, the same thing is happening right in this moment. Guys in their early 20s are finding ways to escape the matrix and create generational wealth. I know the modern world has given us this narrative that developing and keeping good habits is hard, but actually it is not. It might be hard to hear, but we've all gotten a bit soft. It's time to open our eyes. It took me too long to understand how important having an eyes open perspective was, and this is going to be very relevant for the steps ahead. Later in this video, I will tell you about the power of affirmations, but it needs to be done with the right mindset and this perspective, because otherwise they just remain generic things to do. One of the biggest insights I learned while struggling to get my life together was that discipline is something I needed to approach with the "it's so simple, even a child could do it" mindset. I was born to inherit the stars. This is nothing for me. And That's the kind of perspective that I started to build in my mind, and you won't believe how much it has helped me. It's not something I developed overnight, but once you start on this path, you become a different man. If this sounds exciting, I promise you it gets even better. There is so much you can do once you build this mindset. On that note, if you could choose a superpower this way, what would it be? I'm kind of curious to know, so feel free to drop a comment down below. Do you want to start a new business venture, master a new skill? What dreams are you hoping to work towards once you get disciplined? I'd love to hear them. Writing what you want to do in the comments section seems insignificant, but it's not. You are giving life to your dreams when you actually take them out of your mind and make them happen. Write them down. Now, let me tell you the first real step in this journey. Reconnect with who really you are. I don't know if you feel the same, but if I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, I find it really easy to be influenced by what I consume. I used to be someone who would spend hours on Instagram and TikTok. On a surface level, this didn't feel too bad or bother me too much. It was an unconscious decision and cheap dopamine going through tons of funny memes. But honestly, it affected me on a deeper level, and it's likely doing the same thing to you. How, you ask? Well, it's because every video you consume is someone else's perspective. Every comment you read, that's someone else's thoughts. It hit me like a rock one day that I rarely had thoughts, perspectives, and opinions that I could truly call my own, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, reconnecting with who you truly are is the first step, but it doesn't mean you need to quit your job and travel to the Himalayas. Let me tell you, the easiest way I found to reconnect with myself was by being more self-aware. The way that helped me the most was by simply uninstalling the brain rot apps on my phone. TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, everything that hinders your capacity for self-awareness. And don't just take my word for it. Science has proven this to be a massive tool in building discipline. With hours of attention-draining content out of your life, you now have the time to start taking control of your thoughts. Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, said, "Self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do." Self-awareness also goes a long way in helping you change your definition of who you are. What do I mean? I mean that ultimately it's you and no one else who decides the kind of person you are going to be. This means it's possible to create the reality that you are not the guy who lives an undisciplined life. That was the old you. You are no longer him. This belief has more power than you imagine and brings me to my next point. But before we do that, I want to appreciate the fact that you made it this far into the video. I'm proud of you because most viewers don't even get to this point. And this is why I got a bonus tip for you right now. Here we go. Write down why you aren't doing what you should be doing. Why? Because it reveals the true reason for your discipline. Anytime you feel that hesitation or reluctance, grab a pen and paper and write why you don't want to do what you need to do. Try it and you'll be surprised by what you learn about yourself. My next point is something that I ignored for longer than I should have. It's to stop underestimating the power of affirmations. This one might be tough for a lot of you to swallow, and I don't blame you. Affirmations always seem like the biggest new age cope ever. But then I realized I was getting nowhere doing things the conventional way and thought it doesn't cost me anything, and gave it a try. Boy, do I wish I started earlier. There's a lot of misunderstanding about how affirmations work, but this is what I experienced in my life. So we know that our beliefs have a definite impact on our bodies and on the world. For example, hypnosis as anesthesia definitely seems to work, and studies prove this. And as I explored the world of affirmations, I learned that what you truly believe about yourself and your world has the power to shape your reality. If this is true, then believing in your potential to be disciplined should have an effect. And it did for me. I felt like making the choice to be disciplined came far easier, and that I wasn't mentally fighting against it anymore. The best part is that getting started is so easy. WebMD says you want to start by picking a quality, trait, or choice you've made. So in this context, that choice might be the decision to live a disciplined life. What worked for me was to create the affirmation, I am someone who gets things done on time. It might be different for you, but this was something I struggled with a lot, and affirmations really helped me. Call it brain magic, the law of attraction, whatever works for you. It doesn't matter, because when you believe something in your heart about yourself, it changes you and your reality. The fourth tip is something you've heard before, but it is super important. Start waking up earlier. Not only does this give you more time in your life, it also gives you that daily psychological win that you really need. Waking up early was one of the most important steps for me to get serious about my life. It helped me achieve more during the day and win back my discipline. Waking up early also helped me in ways I never expected. It made me less anxious and nervous, which kind of reminded me of how Emerson once said, "He is rich who owns the day, and no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety." But seriously, ever wonder why you don't see any militaries that allow their servicemen to sleep till 8:30? It's because that's a terrible habit to develop if you want discipline in your life. There's a lot of advice online about how to make waking up earlier easy, but it boils down to one single step: sleep earlier, because discipline starts the day before. The average bedtime for most adults is between 10 and 11 p.m. But it's even later for a lot of people. I see people trying to wake up early by force when they sleep past midnight. Dude, why? Your body needs sleep. And waking up early doesn't mean you give up your sleep. It means you adjust your habits so that you can wake up on time and still get all the benefits of a full night's rest. The next thing to keep in mind is to know your weaknesses. You need to be honest with yourself. All of us have triggers and quirks in our personalities and behavior that make things harder than they need to be. I'm not even talking about obvious weaknesses like the fact you might be addicted to video games or watching too much TV. You may already be aware of these, so I want you to really think about this. Only then will you start to recognize aspects like emotional triggers. For example, everything might be going well until you experience stress at work. And this is often when a lot of people crumble. What worked for me was to pay attention to how I respond when I got stressed. Did I get angry, passive? Did I feel like giving up? It's amazing how much you can learn about yourself and improve once you start to notice your own behavioral patterns. You know what's even more amazing? It's how these weaknesses lose power when you understand where they come from. Productivity gurus online often make it seem like discipline is all about following a list of steps. Yes, steps help, but they don't work in isolation. You really need to pair them with a perspective shift about who you are as a person. If this topic got you interested and you want to dive deeper into how to become a better version of yourself, I'm linking one of my previous videos here. I'm sure you will find it useful. On that note, if there's a topic or theme that you would like me to cover next, let me know. Until then, I wish you the best of luck.